Most of you have probably been on commercial airlines before. There's no doubt that our aeronautics inventions today are amazing. But how did all of this start? Although there have been many events that led to today, one of the most important have been the contributions of two Indiana-born inventors, known to us as the Wright Brothers. The Wright Brothers invented the first controllable aircraft. Through trial and error, they were able to perfect the controllability of the aircraft with 3-axis movement. They called these controls pitch, yaw, and roll. Pitch controlled the level of the plane's nose, yaw controlled the plane's ability to turn left and right, and roll controlled the leveling of the wings. It is these 3 controls that allowed the Wright brothers to maintain a 38-minute flight time on October 5, 1905. Before the start of their career, the Wright brothers had already taken an interest in aeronautics. When their father brought home a toy that could spring into the air, the toy had sparked Orville's curiosity in aeronautics. On the other hand, Otto Lilienthal's theory fascinated Wilbur when Lilienthal had demonstrated that air can support a man in flight. After his death in 1896, the Wright brothers were determined to figure out the problems of flight. The two decided to conduct their experiments on Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Little did they know they were on the path to making history. Their first attempts to making a glider fly in the air failed. When they tested a manned flight, the wing warping system they developed worked well, but did not provide the lift they were expecting. They often made observations of bird flight to study their technique to fly and incorporated their findings onto the creation of their gliders. The Wright brothers' 1901 flight season did not fulfill their expectations. When they had tried taking a closer look at their findings, they'd realized that their failed experiments were because of Lilienthal's tables of lift and drag, which they had incorporated onto their 1901 glider. They concluded that the data was inaccurate and was the reason why their gliders failed to meet their expectations. The brothers then built the 1902 glider, which resulted in their major success. Through trial and error mechanics, the Wright brothers were finally able to develop the world's first fully controllable aircraft. This remarkable event only followed a chain of successful flight tests. Thursday, December 17, 1903, would be one of the most iconic days in history. It was the day that the Wright brothers successfully flew their airplane, an astonishment to not only America, but the world. They launched their invention at their test site in Kitty Hawk. Their flight lasted only 12 seconds, and the plane managed to fly up to only 120 feet. But it was the first time that anyone had seen a controlled flight. They went on to test their aircraft 4 more times, all with success. Their experiment proved that birds weren't the only creatures that had the ability to fly, but humans were also capable of reaching the sky. At the time, the best source for news was the newspaper. There were about 5,700 newspaper articles written about the Wright brothers since 1902, the earliest reported one being written by a reporter by the name of A.I. Root. The work conducted by the Wright brothers affected the field of aeronautics greatly. They were the first to show the world that an aircraft could be controlled from within the air. This prompted others to develop technology for longer and farther flights, because they no longer needed to control the aircraft from the ground. This kickstart movement was one of the first in the aeronautic business, which was a stepping stone to the eventual creation of fighter planes and commercial aircrafts. Because the Wright brothers' invention showed that aircrafts can be controlled while in the air, many people became interested in the advancement of planes, and that would eventually lead to things such as propeller planes and even commercial flight. After their successful invention, the Wright brothers also opened up a flight school and were the first to ever train pilots. Had it not been for the great innovation and insight of both Wilbur and Orville Wright, the advancement that kick-started humanity's aeronautic journey may have never come to pass. These two brothers, starting from a humble bicycle shop, took the skies and showed to the world that humanity was capable of controlled flight.